Hey everybody, welcome to Old Fashioned Catholics. I'm Nick.
And I'm Kevin.
And we are Catholics who drink old fashions. If you've seen us before, then you know that we usually film very late at night because that's when people in their vocation usually get some free time to sit around and talk and have a nightcap. Yeah. So.
And if you are familiar with our show, you know what to do right now. If this is your first old-fashioned Catholics, we are going to put a pause here so you can get a drink if you don't have one. We'll put what I am drinking and what Nick is drinking up on the screen and what our guest, who we will introduce in a moment, is drinking as well. So you can pause it here and grab yourself a drink. I'm going to introduce tonight's guest. This is someone who I have been trolling on YouTube for some time and just kind of checking out his videos. This is Dr. David Gray. We know very little about him other than he is a dad and he is Catholic. And so he fits our bill of someone we want to have on our show. We do know that he has extensive training in the areas of theology and correct me if I say this wrong, but Black fraternal history. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah.
So we are excited just to share a drink tonight and have a chat with David Gray. So David, welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show, sir.
Yeah, Nick and Kevin, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm really excited to be on old-fashioned Catholics, man.
And really, the only thing old-fashioned about it is the drinks and the music at the beginning. Otherwise, we're wearing sweatshirts and sitting in our kitchens. But
we were going to have a uniform where we would both wear white t-shirts because in one of the episodes we sort of stripped off and just had just white t-shirts. But even that's too orthodox. We just can't stick with it. So tonight, and it's 27 below where I am, so I'm wearing a sweatshirt. But
oh wow,
yeah. So where are you, sir?
Yeah, so I'm in the greater St. Louis area, so Southwest Illinois. So we had snow on the ground for the first time today, so it was enough to shovel. So that's our situation. Right. First snow today. So where are you guys at?
We're up in northern Minnesota. Nick is actually is it considered the coldest place in the lower 48?
It's the coldest place in, sometimes they say North America actually, but the coldest place in America, International Falls, Minnesota.
Wow.
And right on the border of Canada. And then Kevin's 3 hours south of me in Duluth.
Yeah, I'm on the shores of Lake Superior.
Wow, and, northern border.
The Great White North. Yep.
Wow. Did you guys build a wall up there? Was that a thing?
No.
Okay.
It's just a wall of snow. It's like an igloo wall. It's just these snow blocks, and they melt.
Oh yeah.
But we do
like
it
Game
anyway.
Of Thrones, like the ice wall.
That's pretty much
like
the style.
It's like a foot high, is though.
Because everyone gets too cold and they have to go back inside.
But there are the jokes every year, like winter is coming. That's every year. That's
really.
Yeah. We have in January, they have icebox days and they have a freeze your gizzard 5K, and we have bowling with turkeys. So you bowl in this parking lot with frozen turkeys. They have a toilet seat throwing competition.
So you guys are just throwing things. Wow.
Yeah, it's all throwing things.
Yeah. I was in Toledo. When is this? I think I was in college when I was in Toledo, and there was a bowling alley. They had midget throwing. And this is before the word midget was offensive.
Right. Yeah.
And so I never heard of turkey throwing, but it's probably similar.
It's great because it's not before throwing midgets was offensive. It's just before that word was offensive. You can still throw them. It's just you can't call it midgets.
As long as you have a willing participant.
Yeah, right.
At least they can say yes. The turkeys have no choice in the matter.
Yeah, that's right.
Gosh.
Toledo. That was in Toledo.
Toledo.
That's
Toledo,
awesome.
Ohio.
That's
right.
Oh my
I am
gosh.
Enriched by having heard that story.
I'm gonna Google that like crazy when we're done.
We are all.
Listen, I have some great midget stories. One time I was in Toronto, and this is gonna freak you out. So Toronto has a little subway or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So we're heading down to the subway, and out of the corner in my peripheral, I see a little short guy, midget, and he runs and he jumps the turnstile.
Awesome.
Which is amazing because you're thinking, why didn't he go under it? Right. Because he could have done anything.
He could have just gone like this. It's a little head
Yeah,
bob.
something to
those little
prove.
guys, you just never know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have a lot of stories with those guys.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
I never thought I'd meet anybody that could say that in a sentence. I have a lot of stories about those guys.
Yeah, about those guys. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And we've just started our first sip.
Yeah. Yeah, when I was in college, I would just go for acting, and at one point we had to do these one act, and I did a scene from a scene from The Wizard of Oz, and I introduced it by saying I chose this scene. There was a big audience of people, and I said I chose this scene because I love midgets. And then like my eyes sort of dropped, and then in the front row was one of the music professors who was one, and he was just right there, and I just turned and walked, and we did it, and I apologized to him later, but he thought it was funny, so.
Yeah.
Okay. But
Did you get the part?
yeah. We should have done audience recruiting. I mean, like, get up here. You're made for this. Just get up here.
Yeah. That's cool. That's
In
cool.
the Lollipop Guild. But yeah, that's great.
So David, what are you drinking? What's in your drink tonight?
So I don't know if you guys ever heard of the Keurig, it makes coffee, whatever. Anyway, they have one that makes alcohol. So same concept, you have these pods. So we're at Total Wines today, and so I knew it was going to be on the show. I went to Total Wines, and so I got these old-fashioned pods, and so so I put it in the machine, so it came out. It's close. It's not bad.
Yeah, right.
It's not bad. So
is it?
So you have to add your own alcohol? Then you add the alcohol.
No, alcohol is in the pod.
Wow.
Is this Keurig brand? Like,
yeah.
My mind is blown. I've never heard of that.
Yes, the thing. And so they have martinis, they have cocktails, they have Long Island iced tea. They even have a bourbon, which I don't trust, right?
wow,
But
yeah,
they have everything. And so
wow.
So I'm trying. It's not bad.
It's good.
It's not bad.
It looks good. It's all
This episode of Old Fashioned Catholics includes a paid promotion from Keurig LLC. That's
sponsored by the Lollipop Guild. Oh my gosh. So you're go ahead. Go, Kevin.
Nope. Go ahead, Dave.
No,
go ahead. I had one question that was on my mind at the top of tonight, and that's a question that we ask all of our guests, David, and that was, in actuality, how was your day, or what was your day like today?
Yeah, so Wednesdays are my off day from my day job, so it's typically busy. So this, in the morning, did oil change, and then honeydews for the wife and the daughter, right? And then eventually I get home and I'm ready for my my Guadalupe Radio Network show. So today is my third day for my Guadalupe Radio Network show, and I think it's my best show. So I'm really happy.
That's cool. Nice. What is the Guadalupe Radio Network? What's that?
So Guadalupe Radio Network, they're the largest probably Catholic radio network outside of EWTN. So they have 37 stations nationwide, English speaking, then they have Spanish. So heretofore, they had used a lot of EWTN's stock programming, because EWTN will give you free programming if you have a radio station. You can start a radio station in Minnesota and you can use their content for free, right?
Okay. But now our radio station does that. EWTN stuff all afternoon. Yeah.
So now Guadalupe Radio Network, they're starting to build their own content. So they hired me this year. So I have just a Wednesday show. So yes, it's going to get, it's called Voicing Truth and Reason. So interesting conversations like this with interesting people. Okay. And so, yeah. So yeah, good day.
Are you the solo host, or do you have a co-host?
No, so I am. It's a solo thing. So I have to book my own guest. I'm not. I don't have. I do have a producer, but so you're just me. I guess it's just low budget, right? Just
yeah. Sure.
But it's it's fun. Have a good time so far.
That's cool. I need to maybe afterwards learn a bit more about the solo thing. I've been thinking about going solo. So my co-host.
I hate you, man.
Wait till we're off air, Kevin. Okay, so did you grow up then in Illinois, or where did you grow up?
I grew up in Northeast Ohio. It was a little town called Warren, Ohio.
Yeah.
Have you heard of the Youngstown, Akron?
My wife grew up in Columbiana.
Oh, Columbiana County? Oh, yeah.
No, Columbiana, the town. That's her hometown.
But that's in Columbiana County, right? A little north of, closer to Cleveland, right?
No, Columbiana is like 20 minutes from Boardman. And
Ah,
yeah,
okay,
so it's
okay,
right over
okay,
by the border. It's like 45 minutes from Pittsburgh, but so we're
okay, okay.
you know,
So
your neck of
south
the
of
woods.
Warren. Okay,
Yeah, a
yeah,
little bit south. Yep.
yeah. Oh, so yeah. So you know the area then.
Same neck of the woods.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
That's cool.
So yeah. So grew up Northeast Ohio. Big, huge Browns fan, as you see the
Yeah,
helmet in the
okay.
background.
Yeah, they had a good run
Signed
this
by
year.
one of the greatest cornerbacks ever, Hanford Dixon.
Okay.
Nice.
So yeah,
I
so
was
great.
rooting for him. I was rooting for him hard, and that game was theirs to take.
It was theirs.
It was theirs.
I mean, what more can you ask for? Mahomes went out the game. I mean, what more could you ask for?
I don't know. There's just any one of several things could have gone a different way for them to win that game. Just any one of them, but they all did.
Yeah, the fumble at the end zone. I mean,
That was it. That was
just
just that one thing.
yeah. So, but I mean, they came a long way from 0-16. So
Sure did.
yeah,
Sure did. It looked like a legit football team.
right. Not a high school team.
That's right.
Are you guys talking about sports right now?
Yeah, hockey.
Okay, cool. I was just trying to catch up. I don't understand. Go ahead.
But you
Yeah.
play hockey, right, Nick?
No.
No.
You'd have to meet me. I'm of short stature, and
Nick was a gymnast.
I was a
man.
gymnast. Yeah.
Oh,
Notice I say I was a gymnast. I didn't do gymnastics. I was a gymnast. You got to at least try to retain some sort of dignity. But no, my father-in-law is a huge sports fan, huge, and it's kind of just a running joke that they talk about things and then they like so a football is this oval shaped. It's just a thing. I don't know if you've ever seen Zoolander. But in
Yeah.
Zoolander, he's at the bar with his dad after one day in the coal mine. And he
Yeah.
comes walking out of the bathroom and he says, "Who's winning the match, Pop?" And his dad just goes, "State." And so with my father-in-law, that's a running joke. I'll just say, "Hey, who's winning the match? Did they lose the puck?" And then that's it. So I grew up skating. I had hockey skates, but I never played hockey. I went to a little Christian school. We didn't have any team of any kind.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And I was very small, so I would have been killed. So yeah. But I like football. I just don't know about it.
Yeah, that's funny.
So you were born in Ohio. Then what brought you? How did you get to where you are now?
Yeah, so my wife, she works for the military as a civilian, so she's been going to different bases, pretty much just seeking promotions or whatever. So my job, I'm in sales, my day job. So I can kind of go pretty much anywhere I want to.
Sure.
So I work for a national company. I won't say the name on the show.
Sure.
But yeah, so I can kind of go anywhere with them. So that's why, so we're in Southwest Illinois and enjoying it so far. Hopefully we'll be able to stay here. So our youngest daughter is 12, turning 13. So I want her to be in a place where she's in high school the whole time. So I'm trying to get my wife to be like, hey, you can settle down for a minute, stop chasing a little promotion thing, and let's just do this. So I think she's in agreement with that. So that's
tough. On. We have 5 kids, and our oldest is 15, and we lived in a town 3 years, and then we moved here for the last couple of years. And we're just missionaries, so our plan is to, the second God opens the door, we're out of the country, we're just whatever. And they keep bringing that up, like he's like, I'm on the basketball team now, and do we have to move? I'm like, hey, listen, if we do, it's God's fault, so you can blame him.
Right.
So,
right.
No, I totally understand. That's tough with the kids.
Yeah.
How many kids do you have?
I have 4 girls.
4 girls.
4 girls.
So your youngest is 12 and your oldest is what?
20. So she's born in 94. So she'll be what is that, 25?
I don't know.
Yeah,
27?
27?
Sorry, 26.
Yeah, so she'll be turning 26. 25 now, turning 26. Yeah.
It's crazy. I saw. Okay, so I got a chance when Kevin was like, David Gray said he'd be on the show. Well, 2 things. One, I don't know your choice in music. Do you ever listen to David Gray? Was that a singer that you?
I mean, I can't help to. I mean, because it's like always the name association. Because like I'm in sales, right? So hey, I say I'm David Gray. So. By the way, I've listened to him, just by the way, like, okay, what is this guy? What is he himself? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I have all of his albums. I loved his stuff.
Really? You're a
Yeah,
fan?
I'm a fan. So this is kind of like meeting one of my musical idols. So at the end of the show, we're gonna close it out with you singing just any one of his numbers, just anyone, just
He's
a cappella.
huge though. I mean, I
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
when I lived in the Dayton, Ohio area, there was like a concert at the Nutter Center at Wright State University, and traffic was just crazy. I
Yeah, for
mean,
a while he was really huge.
yeah, man.
My friend said that he's like Bob Dylan, but he can sing. I don't know. But the other thing was, so when I heard you were going to be on the show, I watched a couple of your videos, and so you are a convert then.
I am.
So what belief did you grow up? What denomination? I grew up Assemblies of God, and then in '08
Oh,
We keep having converts on the show,
I know,
Nick,
what the heck?
accidentally.
We need to screen these people.
Yeah.
yeah, I have some background with Assemblies of God. They had where I'm in Warren, they had this program called the Buckaroos. I
Okay.
think it was
Yeah.
like a youth program.
Uh-huh.
And so I was in that. I was a Buckaroo. So yeah, some. But my family, I grew up Protestant. Different. My family was so Protestant. I mean, they belonged to different Protestant denominations.
Sure,
You had
yeah.
Baptist, Methodist. I mean, just very Protestant, right?
Sure.
So that's the flavor I grew up in. Not really, if I'm, my parents never married. They went on to marry. They had my mom went on to marry. My father went on to marry. So I'm spending time with my mom and my dad on weekends. So he's at the Baptist church. My mom sometimes she's at Baptist, sometimes she's at African American Episcopal. Sometimes she went through the spell where she's Jehovah's Witness. So mom is doing different things. My maternal grandparents, they're again Baptist, African American Episcopal. So I'm kind of grew up in all different times. I'm getting a lot.
Sure.
I really never,
Yeah.
no one ever articulated to me who Jesus Christ is. No soteriology, nothing about salvation or why I needed to know Jesus. No, I was never churched, as they say.
Sure.
So by the time I got to college, I'm just like, I'm really anti-Christian at that point. 'Cause I'm thinking, maybe there is a God. I'm open to deism. But the whole Christian thing, no, I thought the whole Jesus thing was just kind of made up, fake. Couldn't really understand how you had all these different Christian denominations, yet they all seem to be competing with one another. So also this time, it's like the late 80s, early 90s. Black nationalism is very big back then, the Back to Africa thing. I'm going to historically Black college and universities, so this is huge. And so I was at a mindset back then that Christianity is just a white man's religion, right? It's just something the white man used to suppress the Black man,
Yeah.
this whole militant thing. And so that was where I was at in college. And so Christianity was not even everything else is on the radar. Judaism, Islam,
right.
whatever.
Anything but, yeah.
Right.
Same here. I was at a Bible college and I was like, I'm out. I'm an atheist. This is just anything but. But what year was that? When were you going through college?
Early. So I got there 91.
Okay.
90. No, actually 90. I graduated high school 91, but I didn't go to college till 92. So
David, you're so youthful looking, so young,
man,
so
you've aged
fresh.
well.
Gosh.
It's the bourbon, right?
Very well, yes.
Listen, one shot a day, 5 days a week.
See,
Yeah.
so the nice gray that you have, Mr. Gray, in your hair, that's wonderful. I think I was talking to my wife the other day. I would love to go gray. I think it lends wisdom. Like the people are like, oh well, he knows something. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that's good.
That's the appeal. Or a skunk.
Oh,
Right.
Yeah, Pepe Le Pew, as they say.
There's some alarm going off in my living room. You guys go ahead. I'll be right back. What the heck?
So, David, you're Catholic now. How long have you been Catholic, and who was the catalyst?
So yeah, so it's just I mean, it seemed to be Christ was the catalyst. I mean, that's the only thing. I would say I officially came into the church in 2006, right? That's when I was confirmed and baptized. No, that's when I was confirmed. I was baptized a Protestant a year before in 2005. Confirmed into the Catholic Church on August 8th, 2006. And earlier that year, January, February is when I started asking the question, right? What happened to the churches of the Bible? And so it was really a historical search for me. And I really started my journey. And I just just kept following the truth, essentially, regardless of what it was leading me, because I really didn't want to be Catholic. Um, didn't know a whole lot about Catholics, but the more it just, when you discover the truth, you have a response. You can either deny the truth or you can accept the truth and deal with the consequences of it. So despite the fact that I really didn't want to be Catholic, despite the fact I really didn't understand a whole lot, some things just seemed confusing. I just kept walking, just kept following Jesus, following Jesus, following Jesus, and eventually follow him all the way to his church.
Do you remember a time or a situation where there was a moment that you thought, I think Catholicism is true. I think this might be the church.
Yeah. When was I completely convinced? It had to be when I encountered the teaching of the Holy Eucharist, right? And I was having troubles with that, and I picked up a book by Joanne Carroll. It was called Eucharistic Miracles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, you're familiar with that book, and so she is kind of like it just talks about times when the bread did become flesh, or times when the blood did become, or the wine or the consecrated wine did, the body of Christ did become actual tangible blood. And so I'm reading this book and I'm like, okay, this still seems, I really wasn't sold on the theology itself. I was being very technical about the whole thing. Like, how does this happen? When does it happen? All the minutia. But I said, you know what? If this is true, then I have no reason to not be Catholic. So that was really like the turning point. If the Holy Eucharist is true, then I have to be Catholic because I can't get this anywhere else. And so that's what really kept me on the path, or kept exploring what the Catholic Church was teaching.
So I saw in one of your things that your wife, and I didn't look at the date, but your wife either at the time had decided to become Catholic, maybe has already, or that might have been recent.
Mm-hmm.
But where's that? When was that happening?
Yeah, so when we got married in 2016, she's a Protestant. We got married in a Catholic church, though.
Sure.
She was never an anti-Catholic. She's raised Baptist,
Sure.
but she was never really one of those anti-Catholic Baptists. But my wife's decision to become Catholic was more so we have to stop going to two different churches on Sunday.
Sure.
If we're one family, and I was like, when I married, I was kind of like, I was really trying to convince my wife. I was using all these intellectual arguments, about the history of the church and the Holy Eucharist. I'm really trying to hammer it in. Eventually, I got to a point where I started, to stop doing that because it wasn't working. I think it was making the situation worse. So I got to a point where I said, I'm just going to fast and pray for my wife. So I started every 13th day of the month, and I still do it to this day. I started just praying and fasting for her. Every 13th day of the month, I would fast and pray for my wife for her conversion. And when we moved here to Illinois, it just happened. She said, you know what? We're going to, we moved to a new city. I'm not going to find a new church. I'm just going to become Catholic. And I was like, hey, fasting and praying works. And so, right. And so yes, that's short. That's the short end of it. So it's been a great experience. And she's still learning in the faith, I think. Like I said, her decision to become Catholic was more like, my family has to be, we need to be one family.
Sure.
But I think she's enjoying it. She enjoys some liturgies more than others. She's definitely not into the traditional Latin rite. That's just not working for her. So, but yeah, we're having a good time. And now my daughter, who came with her, my stepdaughter, who I don't even call her my stepdaughter because I've known the girl since she was 3, and she's never known her biological father. So, but yeah, now she's Catholic, and so it's like it's amazing. So God has really blessed us. In the scriptures say, God will save your whole household, and that's what. That's the work he's done in our family. So we're been blessed.
So why the 13th of the month? Is there a reason you chose that day?
Yeah. looking back on my life, especially since I had my conversion experience, things have always, there's always the turning points in my life for whatever reason always happen on these days that were the 13th.
Oh, that's cool.
And also, and then the Blessed Mother Mary, her appearances to the children of Fatima were always on the 13th. So I always connected those two. Like, hey, maybe mom's looking out for me. Maybe this is our connection, the 13th. And so, because some really strange things always happen to me on that day. So I said, okay, this is the day. This is the Blessed Mother's Mary Day. This is a day that seems to be a day of conversion for me. And so it's always been the 13th for my wife's, I'm praying and fasting for my wife.
Back in 2008, when I had the conversation with my grandpa, who's like my dad, he's an acting father, and then I had the conversation with my mom that we were becoming Catholic, and my mom cried, and my grandpa just, oh, Nick, and then kind of walked away. And what we had gone through, though, because my father-in-law was an Assemblies of God pastor for 40 years, and she was fourth generation preacher's kid, and so my wife, knowing and actually taking into account the huge feeling of betrayal and pain that it was going to cause, she had just kind of decided, you know what, you become Catholic. I had always told her, I'm never going to pull a Scott Hahn on you. Okay. So I'll just wait. And then when you're ready, we'll both join in. And at one point she was just like, no, you know what? At one point in frustration one night, I was like, can I just join first? Can I just, and then everybody can be mad at me, and they'll be mad at me. And then when you do, like a year later, they'll just blame me, and they'll think I had domineeringly made her, whatever. And she was like, yeah, would you do that? I was like, sure. So I was set in 2008 to become Catholic at the Easter Vigil. And Kevin, were you there? You wouldn't have been there at that point.
I wasn't at the vigil, no, but I remember this time.
So we were sitting at home on Good Friday, so just the night before, and we weren't talking about anything. We were just at home, and it was quiet. Jason was at the table, and it was quiet, and out of nowhere, she just said, "What am I doing? This is stupid. I'm just becoming Catholic tomorrow." I'm like, "Oh, okay, all right." And so it was funny because in the program, her name wasn't in there. And when we were up, getting called up or whatever, people in the crowd were saying, because he called my wife's name, father called my wife's name first, and they were like, "No, she's not becoming Catholic," because nobody knew she was becoming Catholic. So all the greeting cards that we got were like Nick and Jacelyn, and they were written in different ink or pencils, because people were last minute. So she very last minute. I expected her to wait at least a year, and just because she didn't want to hurt her parents, she didn't want to put that burden on them or whatever. But at some point, she, like you had said, she kind of just got to the point where she's like, but if I already believe it, I don't know, how do I not act on it for a year,
right,
or when I know it's going to happen, then just I should. So yeah, that's what happened with us. But anyway, yeah.
Oh man, I like that. They're like, yeah. Well, I mean, what's the point? I mean, you have to go. You have to go. I mean, we do that with the bathroom, right? I mean, you just don't hold it in. I mean, go. That's go.
Great.
Yeah. So, when nature calls, you follow.
Nature calls, you follow.
I like what you said about truth, though, about how you just have two choices when you encounter something that's true. You just have two choices. There's no third. That's good. I like that.
I really like that you just built into your life prayer and fasting for your family, and you systematically put it in so that it's automatic. I mean, it's just, you've scheduled it in. I mean, that's pretty rare air, I think. Yeah. I mean, for me as a husband and father, I need to write that one down. Yeah. Take a page out of that book. I think every father should be doing that. Why aren't? I mean, Nick, you probably do it every other day. I mean, Nick, your life is prayer and fasting. Shut up.
I'm a monk up here.
But I just really like that, David, that you just decided and just kept it going.
Because I'm not the spontaneous type. I'm not. I mean, the idea of, I got to fast and pray for my wife, because I think I tried that, and then I say, I have to commit to a day.
Yeah.
You have to say, Jesus talks about, sometimes you have to go to your prayer closet, but also there's a so you have a space and you have time also to do things. And so I think, we understand that's a different things in our life. We know we have to set apart time and space to do certain things. And so I think prayer is one of those things, and we have to set a time, space, and time to commit to it. So that's my way to just committing to it.
Did your wife know you were fasting and praying on the 13th? of her?
Oh, she did because it's on my calendar and we share a calendar, a Google
Okay.
calendar.
All right. Yeah.
So it was for a while she laughed at it. I mean, she mocked me. And it's like, she laughed and we'd be going out to dinner. It's like, you're fasting today. You can't eat.
That's
You know,
awesome.
it was like funny. And I remember one time we were at her parents' house in Warren, and I heard her parents were asking her this before we got married. They asked her. They said, "Are you gonna become a Catholic?" And she's like, "No, I'm never gonna become a Catholic." And that hurt me, but I'm just like, I'm still gonna pray and fast. So
Just you wait.
yeah.
That's awesome. Well, because it's funny you say Google Calendar. So I opened my Google Calendar.
This broadcast includes a paid promotion by Google LLC. Sorry, go ahead.
Do we have to put that in the description every time that you? Maybe we could get paid for doing this.
it. Yeah, I lie enough. Maybe it'll become true.
So I was looking at the 13th, and I'm like, oh man, I could do that. So years ago I got into the intermittent fasting thing, and it's been really, really helpful in my life because I never could fast ever. Like when we became Catholic, those days they weren't like prior.
Nick would eat meat every Friday of every Lent without fail. He would forget, and he would text me, "Dude, I ate meat again." Just
No,
he
and
could
it's weird.
not
It was the
remember.
oddest thing. So 08, we became Catholic, and every single Friday of every single Lent since 08 up until last year, I think it was, I ate meat every Friday always. But it wasn't on purpose. I would get up but it was always like flagrant. It wasn't just like I don't know. I would get up and I'm like, I want a meat sandwich, and I would just pile meat and I'd eat, and then I'd get done and I would be like, oh, and so I'd have to text Kevin and be like, I did it again. I ate so much meat today on Friday.
That's interesting.
Yeah. But anyway, so the intermittent fasting thing
Devil.
really helped my life. It was the devil.
The devil made him do it.
You want meat. You want meat, don't you? Today you want it.
Total side note, but we got a little deep on you, David, and we found some video footage of you doing stand-up in somebody's basement.
Yeah, was that awesome. Background real? Was that a real basement? What was that?
Oh, my cousin's basement, the comedy club. My cousin's basement. No, that's
it's a comedy club called My Cousin's Basement.
It's my comedy club in my basement. With a fake background. Don't tell anyone. But yeah.
Don't tell anybody.
Dude, it was great. I kept listening.
Awesome.
I can't tell what this is. Where is he? Because was the background real? Do you have it hanging
The
up?
first one I ever did, it was like this gray brick background. And so that was my basement in Columbus, where I put a wallpaper because I finished the basement and the wall looked horrible, so I put a wallpaper to hide it. Okay. And then the brick background, the red one, is here in
okay, that's the one I saw with the red brick.
Yeah.
But it's not a digital background; it's a real one that you can tell.
It's one of those. You have the curtain rods, whatever, and then you buy the whatever background. So yeah, that's
awesome.
My cousin's basement. Yeah,
that's awesome.
So is that something you do as a hobby? Like, are you a stand-up comedian? Do you like to write stuff and deliver it?
I tried stand-up for a couple years back in, I think, 2010, 11, and 12. And I decided that I was never going to go to New York. I was never going to go to LA. And I could not be, it wasn't going to work for me in Ohio. Even as much as I went to Cleveland, Columbus, and Cincinnati and did the Funny Bone, it wasn't, it was never going to be more than a hobby. So
because Chappelle lives in Ohio, but I don't think that's where he got famous. So
right, yeah. But I enjoy it though, and I enjoy like comedy that's clean, that tells a story, and so I said, okay, well, let me try this from a Catholic perspective. When I did those YouTube videos, let me see if I can tell Catholic jokes. And so that was just me doing some skits, Yeah,
it was fun. It was
awesome.
Good.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Yeah, that's fun. Okay, good.
I speaking of good clean comedians, it makes you I always think of Nate Bargatze. I don't know if you ever heard him, David, but Nate, how do you say his last name?
It's Bargatze. It's spelled Bargatze, but it's pronounced Bargatze.
Bargatze. he's just a fantastic, clean comedian
So
storyteller.
this guy, he grew up in church. He's still a Christian. He's vocal about it. He
Are you looking him up?
Yeah.
Yeah, right up. So if you go to YouTube, he has 2 albums that are audio and they're free. They're just on YouTube. And then he has a special, The Tennessee Kid, is on Netflix. And he's so genuinely good. Like he's just so good.
I gotta check him out.
I watch him
He's a
over and
unique
over.
talent, man. Unique,
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
just
super unique.
nobody like him.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and oh man, yeah, and he's won some stuff. Like he's really respected in the comedy world, but he's I mean, he admits to have growing up in church and stuff, and being in basketball in a half court on carpet, like because everybody who had it, like he just. But his first album, Yelled at by a Clown, it's just the audio, but it's so.
What's his style? I mean, is he like is he a storyteller? Is he one-liners?
Yeah, he's a
storyteller and really kind of dry, like almost like he doesn't know what he's gonna say next.
Okay, that's me. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I love that. Yeah,
I don't know. I'm sure he does it on purpose because all of comedy would be on purpose. But like every one of his specials, even like the live stuff, because he also had the bit on the comedians. But he always starts, they say Nate Bargatze, and he comes out and they're like cheering. He's like, hey, all right, we're doing this. And that's about when the applause dies down. He's like, no, we had it. We're doing it. We're trying. Like he does that. And that's the feel the whole time. Like he's just kind of like, well, I don't know. I'm trying. But he's so good. So I played him for my wife. She loves him. My mom, Father Mike, like it's just across the board. He kills it. He's so good. I'm really impressed by him.
Yeah.
Kevin,
how do you spell his last name now?
So Bargatze. He says it's an Italian name. We're Italian, but we're like Olive Garden Italian.
Oh, okay.
This old-fashioned Catholics includes a paid promotion by Nate Bargatze Comedy and Olive Garden. Oh my gosh, awesome. So we're almost out of time here. I did want to ask you what going on in your life right now, David, excites you or ignites your passion or is keeping you to the grindstone. What are you excited about?
I guess a couple things. I have a publishing company, St. Dominic's Media. I'm excited about
which we will link.
Yeah, 4th year, and so we got a few books that we're publishing this year. I'm really excited about. There's a book called there's going to be a compilation of essays from Black Catholics who are more orthodox and traditional in their liturgical expression and their orthodoxy to faith. So we're putting together essays basically about surprised by tradition, Black Catholics who led Orthodox and tradition, which is weird because you really don't see a lot of Black Catholics anyway, but some that are really more traditional, either liturgically or just Orthodox, right? And so I think that's an interesting essay collection.
Yeah, that's awesome. When does that come out?
I don't know. I think the deadline for essays is going to in the March. So hopefully we had a book out August of this year. So,
I want to read that. That sounds
because you remember those books, Surprised by the Truth.
Surprised by Truth or Surprised by Joy.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, surprise. Going to be like the same thing, right? And so I'm excited about that. And working, and so I've been trying to publish one book every year. In 2018 was my book on the liturgy, the Divine Symphony, really popular. And more popular was my book the next year was the Catechism on Freemasonry. That sold a lot. I was really surprised by that. So this year I want to put out a book that I'm working on. It's going to take a look at conventional and traditional arguments in favor of the death penalty. And so as Catholics, we tend to use these same arguments. Even Protestants use these same arguments from Scripture. We like to throw out Thomas Aquinas just uncritically. Right. Thomas Aquinas,
just
from
throw them out there.
Yeah, just from the medieval theologian. I think we're doing him a disservice by not being okay. Let's look at this. Let's test his argument. So I'm testing all these arguments and seeing what's logical and what's illogical about them. Because obviously we can't throw out certain things. Obviously, people have a right to self-defense, and so if there's a person who we have to keep ourselves safe from, I think there's always that legitimate argument. Okay, to keep the community safe, what can we do to keep community safe? But as far as these arguments from Scripture and Thomas Aquinas, are these logical, illogical? So I'm excited about that, but a lot of people are going to hate it. Some people are going to like it. And so, but I'm excited about it to make some friends and some enemies.
Is that ready to come out?
No, it's not. I'm still drafting. I'm still working on the manuscript. So we're looking at probably September.
So no title or anything yet.
I have a bunch of working titles. One was LOL, the death penalty. I think that's
that's the one. That's the one.
But that kind
enough said.
That kind of says, that kind of plays my hand. I know where that guy's at.
That's awesome.
But I'm trying.
You've given it away on the cover.
Yeah, but I'm trying to approach this like an adult.
Yeah,
and show both sides. So it's going to be something more academic.
No, I picture a whole series by you, just LOL, death penalty, LOL, heroin, LOL. That's David's got another book coming out. That's LOL.
That might be a good idea.
Yeah, the LOL series.
The LOL series.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Oh man. Actually, I'm taking it a completely different direction, but you brought it up. You hooked me. You had said a few minutes ago, just talking about Black Catholics. Mm-hmm. So why is it, in your opinion, that there are comparatively so few African American Catholics in our country?
Yeah, I mean, it's a obviously it's a long history. That's probably another show, but vast majority of Black Americans are in this country are descendants from Africans who were slaves in this country.
Sure.
A small number of those slaves in this country were drawn to the Catholic traditions because very few states in this country were predominantly Catholic. Louisiana, Maryland, right? So not a whole lot of people who descended from those lines of slaves were in those in Catholicism. Just were because in states like Louisiana, even slaveholders in those Louisiana slaveholding states, because the slaveholders were Catholic, the priests and bishops were still compelling them. You still have to give your slaves a Catholic education, and so slaves coming out of those. In those states, that's why in Louisiana today, New Orleans, still largely Catholic, Black Catholics, right? Even Maryland. All right. So that's one thing, right? We just, the descendants of slaves in this country who are African, most of them were from Protestant plantations. That's just how that is. And so then the next question, well, why didn't the Catholic Church really reach out to those slaves after slavery was over? That's a different issue. The Vatican did compel the bishops of the United States. Hey, you guys have to do something. But there's a lot of the bishops of the United States, except for a small number, really didn't want to approach that issue even after slavery. So there's some negligence there, from the episcopacy saying we just don't want to. So very small numbers of bishops even wanted to do that for obvious reasons. As human beings, we're flawed. We have prejudice.
Sure. Yeah.
And so moving forward, there's just been a lack of interest in really evangelizing the Black American community. I suppose just left Black Americans in the hands of the Protestants and saying, hey, it's just so it's and that's really it's just an ongoing cycle of even. A lot of Catholic schools were in Black neighborhoods and city schools, right? Yeah. But aside from, people like me, maybe playing basketball or running track at those schools and getting scholarships there in high school, whatever, just there was no evangelization there. Just not a whole lot of interest in evangelizing that community. So that's just where we're at. And
when I suppose if that's the roots, if that's the beginnings of it, that there were just fewer fewer states who were predominantly Catholic, and if if that's what has begun the branch out, then it would make sense that it would take a very long time to flip that coin, especially like you were saying, there's no emphasis on evangelization of that community.
No,
Then
it's not.
it makes sense that would bear out. My wife had a medical conference in St. Louis that we went to, or no, it was Kansas City. We went down to Kansas City, and it might have been St. Louis. I can't remember which city we flew into. Anyway, we flew in, and it was over a weekend, and so we went to mass. It was her and I. And we found some suburb, some part of the city real close to the city center. Went to mass, and we were just the only white people there, and it was wonderful. First of all, we lived in the Caribbean for a long time, so like we would go to mass, 500 people, we would just be the only people without rhythm. But so like we went to mass, and it was so lively, like just, and I love gospel, like I love the style, and so like even because I'm a drummer, like watching the drummer, like there was a full band, and they just went.
That's probably St. Louis. Yeah, St. Louis has about maybe man, at least 5 of those. And so,
oh really? Oh, it was great.
Yeah.
And mass was longer, and there was just this hum to it that was so much, I don't know, I loved it. I was like, man, again, like there's, in overlooking evangelization to that community, you lose so much. The church loses so much by not evangelizing. So
yeah, I think so.
That's cool.
I mean, we really have evangelization, like by and large in our churches. I feel like to say it's an afterthought is almost kind of charitable. It almost is just not a thing.
Yeah.
It's just not a thing. We just don't do it, especially in Minnesota, man. It's like, you just don't bother anybody else. You go to church.
You just do what you do. Okay.
You just, everybody keep to their own.
Why do guys from Minnesota sound like Amish people sometimes? It's like, because you guys just did that thing, and like from Northeast Ohio, we have the Amish and the Mennonites there, and they sound just like that. What is that?
I don't know.
That's a weird. I don't know. It's years and years of being cold and oppressed.
It's a Scandinavian. So when cold and oppressed. When I went to college, so I came from the north down to Minneapolis, and in Minneapolis, I went to school for acting, and so I remember delivering lines, and I'd be like, oh, but that's the American flag. And I remember my professor being like, I'll kick you out of the program if you deliver lines like that again. You're not allowed to talk like those people. And I was like,
those people?
What am I saying wrong? But then it switched, because I remember at some point in my life, I called my mom, and she was still north. And she was like, oh, what are you talking about? It's so cold. And I was like, what did you say? And I heard it for the first time, how like distinct that is.
Yeah. And, what is it? Is that Irish? What?
No, it's similar. There's similar sounds, but it's more Scandinavian.
It has Scandinavian undertones.
Okay.
Which is weird, because like we like Scandinavian now, we're like Ergy, Bergy, Fergan, Ergen. Like that doesn't sound like Minnesota, but Minnesota, it's the O's. It's all the O's. Oh, I know. Oh, for sure. I know. Wow. It's so cold. I taught my kids who are from the Caribbean, and we lived in New York City, and then we lived I taught them to say, I know, right? Because that's what everybody up here says. They don't say, I know, right? It's, oh, I know, right? Those, you hear, it's so cold. Oh, I know, right?
I got to remember that. Oh, I know, right?
I know.
Yeah. We got to work on it.
Oh, I know, right? Okay.
No.
About 100 more goes at that.
It sucks now. It'll be better later. When you come up to visit us, then you can practice it.
We can work on that.
Yeah. You have time. It's awesome. It's awesome. Well, so what, I don't know how long.
We're out of time.
Are we? Dang it. Shoot, yeah. I don't have a timer on my thing. So do you have time to think up a toast?
Yeah.
It could be anything.
Okay. It could be dumb. It could be deep. We've had both.
Well, thanks you guys for having me on this show, man. This has been a blast. I really enjoyed myself, and I want to go to bed. But before we do, let's raise our glasses and offer a toast to everyone who will go to bed tonight, and the last thing they say is, I know, right?
You sounded like my friend from Ghana.
Yeah, I know. That's why it sounded like African. Oh my god. Cheers, fellows.
Cheers.
Cheers.